My wife left me for several weeks and admitted to cheating on me for 4 years because she was bored, and now she wants to come back. I'm completely lost with my current situation and looking for any sort of insight. My wife, 39F, and I, 40 meters, have been married for 17 years. As mentioned, we have 3 daughters, 15, 13, and 11. We were high school sweethearts, together for about 23 years now. I know almost nothing, but here's all the information I have. 3 days ago, my wife came home from work, said she had to work on the 4th, was frantic and emotional, quickly packed an overnight bag and left. I only know this because our oldest daughter was home at the time and saw her. She tried to talk to her, but my wife was just crying, distressed, and wouldn't speak, almost panicking. She's not responding to any of our texts or calls. I contacted her parents right away, and they eventually responded, saying my wife is safe with them and that I should please be patient and understanding. That's it. I tried reaching her sister, brother, and one of her close work friends. Her brother said he didn't know anything, and her work friend said my wife was at work in the morning, but gone by lunch 3 days ago. That's all she knew. So it's been 3 days now with no contact from my wife, not even with the kids, nothing. No one is telling us anything, and here I am with our 3 girls trying to manage without her. The kids keep asking what's going on, asking what happened to Mum, and all I can say is that she's at Grandma and Grandpa's and that we're supposed to be patient and understanding. I have an overwhelming urge to just pack up the kids and drive over there without warning. It's only 3 hours away, and sitting here in limbo is unbearable. The kids think we had a huge fight or are divorcing, but that's the farthest thing from the truth. We never fight. The kids know this. I don't know what's going on. Can someone provide some logical clarity? My emotional state has me thinking in circles as I try to manage everything without her. If someone had died, wouldn't your spouse be the first person you'd tell? Maybe some past trauma was triggered. But again, if it were me, my wife would be the first person I'd turn to for support. We know nothing, and nothing makes sense. I don't know what to do. I just sit here in limbo with the girls. We know nothing, and no one is telling us anything. It has me worried, scared, angry, and feeling just about every emotion a person can have in this situation. Can anyone come up with something reasonable? Why would you ghost your family like this? I'm not very familiar with Reddit yet. Apologies. There's not much to post. I don't know how to link my last post or do it properly. Last night was long. I didn't sleep. Please forgive the short update. I don't plan to spend much time on the computer today, but I did. Read every reply yesterday and into the night. I read responses today as well. I'll just say what I know and leave it at that. My father-in-law didn't call me last night, so I eventually contacted the police, and they did a wellness check, as many of you suggested. This caused a lot of drama that I won't get into, but my wife has been having an affair for at least 2 years now, likely longer. Everyone was right. The other man apparently had a heart attack on Tuesday and died that night. For certain, my mother-in-law and probably my sister-in-law have known about it and have been covering for her. Still no contact from my wife, not to me or the girls. I'm trying to keep this from them for now. Honestly, I have no idea what to do from here. That's all I know, and that's enough to just about break me. Thank you for all the help and advice. I'm not sure how to move on from this news, but that's it. If you pray, please pray for me and us. I've been recommended this sub by a few others. I just joined and have been reading through many posts, mostly at night when the chaos of the day ends, and then of course, the brain takes over. I go through waves of depression, then get hit with raging anger, sometimes both at the same time. Sleeping is nearly impossible. I wander through the day like a zombie. I'm trying to learn all the acronyms. D-Day for me was last Friday. I initially believed my wife's affair lasted 2 years, but now it's clear it was much longer. The man she cheated with, someone she had known for a long time, AP, tragically died from a heart attack. His sudden death is what finally brought everything to light. Right now, I'm still searching for details, with my oldest daughter helping me piece things together. There are a lot of things I'm not ready to share, and honestly, I never planned to keep posting about my situation. But so many people have offered advice and support that it's become almost therapeutic. It hurts to know so many others have gone through or are still dealing with this kind of pain, and for that, I'm so sorry. I've met with 2 different lawyers both yesterday and today to discuss my options. I've also contacted several places about therapy, but there are very long waits where I live. I'm trying to follow many of the suggestions people have shared. Avoiding alcohol, not a problem, I don't drink. Self-care, working out, etc. I'd say I'm in good shape for my age, but it's hard to find the energy to exercise right now. I know many of you are curious about the details, the who, what, when, why. But I hope you'll understand I'm just not ready to get into all of that. Every day, it feels like another bomb drops. And honestly, I'm just looking for help with one thing right now, so I can maybe start sleeping again. My wife was everything to me, my best friend since high school, the mother of my 3 beautiful daughters. We had inside jokes and secret handshakes. Now it's all gone. It feels like it meant nothing to her, and I can't stop thinking about all our years together. Every milestone, every laugh. I get so depressed. It's crippling. Then the how could yous creep in, and I'm filled with a rage I can't control. I scream into my pillow, punch the mattress until my arms ache. It's a horrible cycle. I only sleep from pure exhaustion, then wake up suddenly, and the mind games start again. Whatever energy I have left, I dedicate to my girls, who have been trying to take care of me. Like the roles are reversed, and that's not fair to them. How did you all sleep after discovering the affair? How did you handle the silence and emptiness at night, with only your thoughts for company? I've decided that, aside from my daughters, sleep needs to be my #1 priority, but I just can't seem to do it. I'd really appreciate any advice you can give. Sorry, I'm still relatively new to Reddit and not sure how much I'm supposed to repeat. But it's been just over a week since D-Day, and since I found out my wife's affair lasted well over 4 years. I still don't know the exact timeline. Likely it started as emotional and then became physical. I wonder how the pandemic and lockdowns played into it. There are questions I may never get answers to. Yesterday, my in-laws made a surprise visit to see the grandkids. My wife has been staying at their house since all this began, which is its own kind of hell for everyone. They greeted the girls briefly, then asked to talk to me in private. It was a long conversation. To keep it short, my wife wants to come home, but is terrified of facing what she's done and the consequences. Her parents pressed hard to find out if I plan to divorce and tried to sway me toward forgiving her and rebuilding the marriage. They were clearly ashamed and embarrassed, but it was also obvious they wanted her out of their house. It was civil and respectful. I admit I lied. I told them I wasn't sure about my plans, even though I fully intend to divorce her. But if I reveal that, I'll never get the truth from my wife. I want her to sit in front of me and explain everything. After 17 years of marriage, being together since high school, 3 kids, and a lifetime of memories, I want her to look me in the eyes and tell me the truth. I want my kids to know I gave her the chance to explain herself, to apologize, and to handle this together as adults. I keep trying to choose the path that sets the best example for my girls. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I want to be able to tell them I handle things with dignity. Legally, I can't keep my wife out of our home. My lawyer made that clear. So, if she decides to come back, I have no way to stop her, even though I absolutely don't want that right now. My girls and I have actually settled into a manageable routine, which gave me the confidence to make a demand I figured she would find difficult to meet anytime soon. I told my wife she could come home if, and only if, she sat down with me face to face, looked me in the eyes, and told me everything about her affair, start to finish. She'd have to answer all my questions honestly, without dodging or lying. Then, she would have to sit down with the girls, apologize to them directly, and answer any of their questions too. I figured since they already knew, it was only fair. Of course, she can legally come back home whenever she chooses. She's not obligated to meet my demands. But if fear is what's keeping her away, maybe I could use that to my advantage. Is that wrong? I'm not trying to be manipulative or dishonest. I just really don't want to resume living together yet. If I can delay that, I will. There's a mandatory 90-day waiting period for divorce in our state anyway. Her return is inevitable. Eventually, we'll both have to go back to work, and life will move forward, no matter how messy it is. I just want to delay her return long enough to plan, to be in a better place mentally and emotionally. She's been texting the girls, saying she doesn't want a divorce and repeatedly apologizing. They've shown me the messages. She asks about me daily, and it's clear the weight of what she's done to all of us is starting to sink in, especially in the past couple of days. I'm just trying to figure out how to handle this. Was my demand unreasonable? It sounds like she'll be coming home sooner rather than later anyway. Still, I feel secure in the direction I'm headed. I'm not shaken by the idea of her return. I knew it was coming eventually. I just want to make the right decisions, for my daughters first, and then for myself. Thank you to everyone who's offered guidance, encouragement, and support. This might be anticlimactic, but I need to get it out. It was a rough weekend, and my wife came home yesterday. There was a lot of build-up as the week went on. Normally, whenever she returned after being away, even for a day, I'd greet her at the door with a hug and kiss. But this time, there was just this thick, uncomfortable silence between us. She tried to hug me first, as if nothing had happened, but I turned away. Once she settled in, I naturally asked her to explain everything. She repeated what she had told me earlier in the week. She wasn't ready to talk. I reminded her, again, that the only condition I had asked of her to return was that she loved her family enough to be honest, to explain where she'd been and why, but she just kept saying she wasn't ready. It took everything in me not to scream at her. I took a few deep breaths, tried to stay calm, and failed. After a long pause, I blurted out that she'd been cheating on me for more than 4 years, that she had planned to leave me for this other man, that she'd ghosted her entire family, and that now she had the nerve to walk back in without fulfilling the one condition I'd asked for. I told her I wanted a divorce. This is where things got strange. Her body language, the expression on her face. It was obvious she had no idea how much I knew. She looked up, wide-eyed, then just stood in the kitchen staring at the floor, completely still. I had expected anything and everything. An emotional outburst, a tearful confession, screaming, excuses, blaming me, or maybe even a serious sit-down talk. But not this. Nothing. Just silence. We stood in the kitchen like that for 5 whole minutes, not saying a word. It was the most surreal moment I've ever experienced. She clearly didn't know what to say, and neither did I. I had read all your advice, prepared myself in front of a mirror for every possible reaction I thought might come, but not this one. So I made a decision. Right then and there, I would lay everything out. I told her everything I knew about her affair. Maybe it was foolish, but I included some assumptions too, about how she met the other man, her sister's involvement, what might have happened during the pandemic, all of it. She never looked up, never said a word, just kept staring at the floor. I grew angrier as the silence stretched on, but I kept my voice steady. I didn't scream or curse. Eventually, I fell quiet, letting the heavy silence fill the room. Slowly, my anger gave way to heartbreak as the painful reality hit me all over again. With a gentle voice, I asked her what I had done to push her away. Did she ever truly love me? And was he, her affair partner, really worth it? She didn't answer, didn't flinch, didn't move. Nothing. Not a word, not a tear, not an explanation. Just stood there, head down, saying absolutely nothing. That silence, it hurt worse than D-Day. I stared at her, frozen, unable to move. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Of course our daughters were listening in. I'm so incredibly stupid. I've been pouring every ounce of my energy into putting them first these past few weeks, thinking of their needs above all else. And yet, when I finally confronted their mother, I forgot about them completely. Our oldest stormed downstairs, furious. Years of bottled-up anger came pouring out. My wife ran upstairs and locked herself in the bedroom. That's where we are now. I heard her crying for most of the night until I eventually passed out from exhaustion. only our youngest, has tried speaking with her. The rest of us have kept our distance. If I can build up the courage, I'll suggest she stay with her sister until the divorce is finalized. But this is still her house too. If we're all forced to live under the same roof, things are going to be unbearable. I was wrong about her. You were all right. I was wrong about everything. About our 17 years together, about all the memories, the milestones, the laughter. I convinced myself she would come home broken, begging for forgiveness, that she would fall to her knees and, finally, unload the full truth, desperate to clear her conscience. This is the same woman who once drove back to a farmer's market because she was accidentally given $10 too much in change. But we, her husband, her children, we weren't worth the same honesty. I wasn't worth it. Maybe I never was. So now what? Today was awful. The house felt different. The girls and I tried to carry on like we have the past 2 weeks. But obviously, that's impossible now. I just want to fast forward, past the divorce, past the ugly conversations and blowouts, past the fights, past all of it. For those of you who've had to live with a wayward spouse, how did you handle it? Especially with kids around. I know this is only the beginning. I read the posts that promise it gets better, but I feel so far away from that moment. Every second of every day, I want to scream. I'm trying so hard to stay stable for the girls, but I honestly don't know if I can keep it up for 3 more months. School starts soon, and this won't be over by then. I guess this is my life now. Thank you to everyone who's shown interest and care. I don't know if the worst is behind us or still ahead, but any advice you can offer to get me through this next phase is appreciated. I'm in a rough place. I've been struggling ever since my wife came back, ever since I learned about the affair. I've been pretending to hold it together for my daughters, trying to say and do all the right things. But tonight, I need to admit something. As many of you say, the pain comes in waves, and tonight, one hit me hard. The divorce has been filed, but my wife still hasn't hired a lawyer. I've tried to be patient, careful, hoping we could get through this uncontested and handle most of it ourselves. But after tonight, I don't know. We've been living together during the week. On Friday nights, she leaves for her sisters and returns Sunday evenings. Her job is close to our house, while her sister lives over an hour away. For the past few weeks, it's become our routine. My daughters and I try to go about our days normally, and my wife mostly keeps to herself. We exchange casual greetings in the evenings, but that's about it. Except for my oldest daughter. She and my wife aren't talking at all, not since a couple of intense arguments. For now, I think that's for the best. I've taken in a lot of your advice. I've read everything. I've worked hard to keep myself composed around her. It takes everything in me, but I've stayed brief and emotionally distant during our few conversations. Always polite, always respectful, until tonight. Usually she comes home from work on Fridays, grabs a few things and heads to her sister's, before I even get back. But tonight, she was waiting for me, standing in the kitchen as I walked through the door. I tried to pass her without stopping, but she reached out and gently took my hand, asking if this was how I planned to treat her, simply because she wasn't ready to discuss her affair. That was the first time she had even mentioned the cheating, since everything exploded nearly a month ago. I tried. I swear, I tried to bite my tongue and walk away. But our daughters weren't home at the time, and the rage inside me boiled over. I snapped and poured out every ounce of pain I've been carrying, every wound, every scream I've held in. I let it all out. I can't even tell you how long I went on. Time completely slipped away. I raised my voice, got emotional, got loud. I broke down. I told her how wrecked I've been, how much agony I've been living with every single day. Everything I've bottled up, all the torment, I let it out. This post could be 4,000 words long if I tried to recount everything I said. Once I started, I couldn't stop. Of course I cried. I got emotional again. And afterward, I was furious with myself. I've been doing so well. Damn it. She got to me. I let her get to me. I knew it would happen eventually. Disgusting. It's been building for weeks. and there's only so much I can unload in the weight room. Then, for the first time, she actually broke. She started crying, really crying, sobbing uncontrollably. And regrettably, I felt satisfaction seeing her hurt the way I've been hurting. I wish I didn't care. But there was something in me that needed to see her feel the pain too. It made me feel like maybe, just maybe, there's still a person in there with a shred of compassion. Through her sobs, she kept repeating, "I'm so sorry," over and over. That's all she said, just those words on repeat. I left the kitchen before she could pull herself together and say anything more. I told her to leave me alone. She stayed in the kitchen for a while after I left, then packed up and left for her sisters again. The girls came home about 30 minutes later and could tell something had happened. It wasn't easy to hide, but I wasn't ready to talk about it. I don't think they need to know. Not now. Our two youngest have been doing a lot better lately, and I don't want to mess that up. Telling my oldest would just make her even more angry, and I don't want that either. I hate this. I hate it so much. I should have kept it together. I should have stayed cold and walked past her. But now, looking back, it feels like maybe she was trying to open up. Maybe she was finally trying to start a conversation about the affair, and I just didn't know how. And I exploded. Lately, I've started to actually worry about her. I know many of you will probably criticize me for this, but I don't want her to hurt herself. She's isolated, alone with her thoughts. Everyone's turned their back on her. Yes, maybe she deserves it, but she's still a human being. She's still the mother of my kids. This feels like a massive setback. I'm disappointed in myself. I called my brother and vented to him too. "Man, I'll try to start again on Monday. I'm only human." Honestly, it felt good to finally vent on her. But now the guilt is creeping in. Should I text her or just let it be? I don't know. I'm a mess. But thank you all, for listening, for offering support, for helping me survive this madness. In the middle of all this, we've started therapy, which is something. But God, this is just so damn hard. I know a lot of you have reached out, and I appreciate every one of you. You were right. Things aren't good. I haven't even had the chance to get online. I thought maybe I'd take a break from the internet, but this week has pushed me backward. It's just been awful. My wife hasn't left me alone. She's been overly nice all week, constantly apologizing for the affair, crying, clinging, smothering me, knocking on my door at night, asking to talk. Sometimes I ignore her, other times I talk. If I'm in the mood, I finally snapped Wednesday night and told her to leave me alone. Then last night, it happened. It's been just over a month since my soon-to-be ex-wife moved back in after the affair came to light, and we've been stuck in this miserable cohabiting routine. Last night, after the girls went to bed, she came into my room and asked if we could talk in private. But this time, her tone was different from before. She had been trying to reach out to me all week. I avoided her at first, but eventually, we went out to the garage and sat in my car, so we wouldn't repeat the mistake of confronting each other in front of the kids again. "This is going to be long. Sorry in advance." She told me everything. According to her, we were out there for nearly 3 hours. I don't even know how much of it I'm ready to share. I was up all night afterward, listening to her sobbing for hours. I couldn't sleep. I cried too. Then I'd get angry, furious, and had to fight the urge to go back in and scream at her. Then more tears. Then more rage. Over and over. Forgive me if I take a day or two to respond to anyone. I just need to get this off my chest and then try to rest. It hasn't helped that my wife has been constantly apologizing and begging for another chance. All evening too. I had to leave the house for a few hours just to get away from her. It's just too painful being around her right now. Anyway, according to her, she met her affair partner through her sister, well before COVID, dating back about 5 years. She claims there were no romantic intentions at first. He was a higher up, at a company she wanted to work for, and he helped get her in the door. Her desire to change jobs wasn't because of the affair, she insists. But once she landed the job, the extra incentive was obviously there. After she started, he began flirting. It started with casual texting, then pictures. Eventually, it became physical just before the pandemic hit. She claims she confessed to her sister and wanted to come clean to me then, but decided to bury it and stay quiet. Of course. She says she went no contact with him shortly afterward, but once lockdowns lifted and businesses reopened, he reached back out and she resumed communication with him. It didn't take long before things got physical again. She claims to have ended it a couple of times out of guilt, but always went back to him. So in truth, it never really ended. She brought a lot of details with her, handwritten, 5 full pages of notes outlining the affair timeline. She read through the entire thing, answering questions along the way. She admitted to lying about weekend trips with the girls, lying about work travel, traffic, family issues, shopping trips, you name it. It was all just a front to be with him. Hearing it all made everything worse. Everyone was right about that. She never grew distant, not emotionally anyway. That part really stung. Her affection never faded. Sure, intimacy changed, but not enough to make me suspicious. There were no huge red flags. She confessed that she fell in love with him, said she started fantasizing about leaving her life, leaving us, and chasing some ideal version of freedom and excitement with him. He was older, divorced, single, promised her luxury, vacations, and the fantasy life she could escape into. She said the thrill of being with him was too strong to resist. She said family life bored her. The routine wore her down. She was incredibly open, emotional, and, seemingly, honest. I lost it halfway through. I broke down crying again. It was everything I feared hearing, and worse. When she finally finished, she looked at me and said she loved me, that she always had, that she was willing to do anything, everything to try and save our marriage. Many of you predicted this would happen. But it all felt rehearsed, hollow, disingenuous. And after being with this woman for more than half my life, I can tell when she's full of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Doesn't matter. I managed to keep my composure, better than last week. Still got angry, still said a few things I regret. Threw in a jab about how her affair partner had been seeing multiple women, and she was just one of many he tossed aside. That one seemed to cut her deep. I've thought about this moment for weeks. Thought about all the one-liners I might throw at her, all the savage comebacks I might unleash. 1,000 different responses played out in my head, none of which I could recall in the moment. But there was one question I knew I was going to ask. I looked her dead in the eyes and asked, if your affair partner was still alive and you had to choose between him and me, who would you choose? She hesitated and then mumbled, that's not fair. I pressed her again and she finally said, of course I'd choose you. I replied simply, that hesitation is exactly why I'm divorcing you, because you're still lying. She started sobbing, and that was all she said before falling silent. We sat in the car for a while longer. She just kept crying, but I was exhausted, so I told her plainly, we're getting divorced. We owe it to the girls to stay civil, to be good parents, and to stay present in their lives. I added that after all the pain she'd put me through, I hoped she'd at least be decent enough to make this divorce fair and respectful. That, more than anything, would prove she ever truly loved me. And then I said one last thing. Something I'd borrowed from a post I read somewhere online. Please understand, I'm not a petty person. I didn't say it to hurt her, but because it felt like the right way to end things. And yes, I meant every single word of it. I leaned over, kissed her on the forehead, and told her I would have loved you forever. Then I got out of the car and went to bed. That was it. Of course, I didn't sleep last night. And here I am again, unable to sleep tonight either. I haven't spoken with my lawyer yet, but one small relief is that her opportunity to contest the divorce has come and gone. That's something, I guess, but I keep crying. I feel myself slipping back into that spiral. Depression, rage, helplessness. It was brutal hearing everything she said the other night. And if I'm honest, I probably could have lived without knowing all of it. For all I know, she could have been lying or making parts of it up. But what she said lined up too perfectly with everything I'd pieced together this past month. So, that's where things are for now. It just feels endless. I'll have a few good days, start feeling like I've turned a corner, then something else crashes down on me. It feels like it's been months, and somehow also like it's only been days. Time doesn't feel real anymore. I'm going to try to sleep. Try. Imagine the love of your life, the only woman you've ever kissed, ever loved, looks you in the eyes and tells you she cheated on you for over 4 years. Not because she fell, out of love. Not because you had problems. Not because of a cold marriage or a dead bedroom, but just because she was bored. I don't even know if that makes it better or worse. Thanks for reading, and thank you for helping me get through this, even if just a little. It's been a rough couple of nights, a really, really rough stretch.